And welcome to this webinar. My name is Hannah Sandelin, and I work here at KTH as a part of the KTH Alumni team. And I am here today with three KTH alumni. This is Jason and Deepa and Hang. Welcome, and welcome to all of you who are watching. Today we are going to talk about life at KTH as a student, but also after the life after the studies as an alum in Sweden, staying on in Sweden. So welcome. You are a student for a few years, but then you are a KTH alum for the rest of your life. And I usually say that it sounds like a threat, but it's actually a great thing because you become part of a global network. And as you see, we have 87,000 alumni and 21,000 of those live outside of Sweden in more than 100 countries. And it varies a lot. We have 2 alumni in Bhutan, and we have more than 2,000 in France. So we have a wide range of alumni population depending on the country. And we have, outside of Sweden, we have a network for you if you choose to live in another country than Sweden. And we have more than 20 networks and chapters worldwide, and they offer a range of events. They offer networking and also academic events. When the faculty travels, we like to connect our alumni to the faculty. And also, of course, social events, such as a mingle or an after work, just to keep in touch with your fellow KTH alumni and also keep in touch to KTH. And during 2018, we hosted almost 80 events, and most of those were actually in other countries than Sweden. That's a good thing if you choose to move. We will also offer events in Stockholm, as you see here, which is good for the 3 of you, actually. Because launching this fall is a Stockholm network that we call KTH Alumni Stockholm Opportunities. And it's a network in Stockholm, since this is our largest alumni population here with 38,000 alumni. And we will offer, as we do in the chapters in different countries, we will offer networking and social events and also professional events, of course. So if you come, you will have to join us. And as an KTH alum, there are different ways to engage. And one way is to join our international buddy program. And you can also benefit from that as a student also. It's a mentor program. So if you choose to study in another country than Sweden, you can connect to a local mentor that can show you the way of life and the job market. And maybe you can work shadow the alum to really get to know the country. So it's a really good thing. And what you see here in our pictures is our great alum in Hong Kong, Jackie Yuen, who is a mentor for Rassam, Dominica and Alexander this spring, actually. And this is from when they met up the first time in Hong Kong just a few weeks ago. And this is something that you might have encountered already, because as an alum, you can participate to talk about KTH, because you are actually the best ambassador for KTH. Since you know everything about life here, you are the best to tell prospect students about how it is. And some of you might already have met our alumni on these events that we do globally. And you can participate in student fairs and in pre-departure events. And I get the impression that this is fun for both the alumni and the students, actually. And what you see here on the right is a post from LinkedIn from our alum Kastub. He participated in an event in India. And he just wrote this beautiful post talking about how happy he was to reconnect with his alma mater. And also he got to remember a lot from his time at KTH when he was talking about it with prospect students. So it's a fun thing to do as an alum and also as a student, of course. And soon we are launching an engagement platform that is called KTH Opportunities Platform. And this is something you can benefit from already as a student here, because it's going to be a way for alumni and students to connect. If you are an alum, you can help a student to look at like a job search, like an application for a job, give feedback to that, or maybe you meet up for a coffee, or maybe you will invite a student to your workplace to show how it is to work here in Sweden. And as a student, of course, you can sign up and get help from an alum here in Stockholm and also internationally. And as a student, you can also join our LinkedIn group with more than 60,500 KTH alumni and students. So do that as soon as you're accepted to KTH and you're here, you're welcome to join both the platform and the LinkedIn group. It's a great way to network. And this is another thing you can benefit from as a student. At KTH Alumni, we have a fund that is called KTH Opportunities Fund. And if you want to make the most of your studies here at KTH, you can apply for funding from this. And this is a fund who's totally paid for by our dear alumni. And it helps our students to do that bit extra with their studies. So this is something you can benefit already when you're at KTH. And I guess now you're thinking like, I want to know more. What is it that I can learn more about KTH alumni? Well, please look us up on the web and you see the big arrow here where you can find us the easiest way. So kth.se/alumni. So welcome. And now I will stop talking and leave the word to the one you really want to listen to, and that is our alumni, of course. So Jason, you will start and tell us a bit about your life here in Stockholm.
Sure. My name is Jason. I come from Venezuela. My bachelor's, I study industrial engineering. After hearing from a friend about Sweden and KTH studying here, I decided to apply and got to move to Sweden 2015, and I did a master's in entrepreneurship and innovation management.
Yeah, thank you. And Deepa?
Yes, so I'm Deepa, and I'm originally from a city called Bangalore in India. And I did my bachelor's in telecommunication and worked a couple of years in India. And then I decided that I want to pursue my master's in machine learning because I love numbers and mathematics. I wanted machine learning to be my career. So that's how I started looking for universities that offered specializations in masters for machine learning. And back then, I think KTH and just a handful of universities all around the world gave this specialization, and KTH was one among the best back then. So talking to my seniors who were studying at KTH, I was pretty confident and I applied for it. And yes, here I am. And I came to Sweden in fall 2014. And yeah, since then, I did some activities at KTH, part-time work at Ericsson, and then I did my master thesis in Germany at Carl Zeiss, and then came back, looked for a job, and here I am as a data scientist at Klarna, and I'm happily living in Stockholm now. It's been about 4.5 years. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. Peng?
Hey, my name is Peng. I am from China. I finished my undergraduate study of a naval architect, which is a ship engineer, at 2014. And straight after that, I came to KTH. I was involved in a joint program, Nordic Master Program, Maritime Engineering. So it's a joint program between Sweden and Norway. I chose this program mainly because the Norwegian university, because they were very famous in the field of my study, and they have oil too. And after that, after my study, I didn't like Norway so much, so I went back to China, and then I started to work for a robotic company startup. But my girlfriend is still here working as a PhD. Then I felt like it's too much, long distance relationship, it won't work. So I tried, and then here I am coming back to Sweden, working for vehicle industries as a development engineer.
So you can say that studies and love brought you to Sweden.
Yeah, right.
That's
I'm
nice.
a love
That's
refugee.
amazing.
So could you describe your first day on campus? How was it the first meeting with KTH?
Should I go?
Yes.
Yeah, there was this, when you arrive during the summer, there are many activities that KTH organized, and also the chapters they organize. So it's you have like a smooth, welcoming month. Also, you have the best weather you can get throughout the year. So yeah, there's like barbecues and they're planning like trips to museums and you get to know the people that you will study sometimes, people that will study other masters. But I really like that kind of reception because you're not just throw there and you don't know what you're doing here. So it's like more slowly and then you're off. Even I think you get the chance to, I didn't, but I think you can take a Swedish during the summer before you start.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really good.
Yes, I think I completely agree with Jason. KTH sort of starts taking care of you like much before you even start studying. Like now, when you have applied for KTH, KTH starts thinking about you and make you feel comfortable by making us talk to you. So that's a really nice thing about KTH that I liked a lot. So when I came, it was very funny because. So I came on the non-arrival days. So basically, there are 2-3 days in August when KTH sort of helps you, get you from airport to the university, and from here you can disperse to accommodation, making it all easy and smooth for you guys. So I chose to arrive on the non-arrival days, and that's amazing, isn't it? And this is the first time I was traveling away from Bangalore ever. So my first international trip, national trip, whatever. So it was so, I had a 105-degree fever when I came here, and I arrived early morning. But as I told you, KTH had already connected me to a lot of Indian friends. And so I had like a bunch of Indian friends who came and, received me in the airport and took care of me from day one. I absolutely didn't have any issues. And then you had all those KTH activities, entire months to, warm up, to soak in all the sun, all the vitamin Ds. Yeah, so
Sweden showing itself from its best side.
yes, exactly. So I think yes, that was great for me. Yeah.
Do you want to add
Yeah.
anything, Frank?
No, I was playing by the rules, so I was picked up in the airport, and then I think in the campus you probably get a guide, a paper of guidance or something. You just go one by one by the numbers, and then you will get all your documents sorted out
Yeah,
and
exactly.
get accommodation and get a
Yes.
key, and then start to enjoy the Swedish summer.
Yeah.
But the time when you will arrive to Sweden, that's the best time in
Yeah.
the summer. Yeah. Everything will look very bright and beautiful.
Yes.
So you already answered it a bit, but what was your first, when you had been here for a few weeks, like what was your first thoughts about Sweden? What was your impression?
I thought like, wow. Yeah, it's like a new place, like it's an organized city, clean air,
Yeah.
beautiful
Of course.
green places, parks. Everyone's taking some baths in the parks.
Yeah.
The day is super long, and yeah, the first impression was like, wow, this place is amazing, and
Yeah.
you want to go outside and explore the city, and meet new people, and be there, and oh, let me explore KTH and
Yeah.
where I can do groceries. Let me check this library. So it's all everything is new. The days are made to explore
Exactly.
the city. So
Yeah.
I think that's. I thought like I thought for a couple of weeks I thought that I made a good decision, even though I haven't started the studies. So I was like, wow.
Yeah. I think Indian students can relate to what I'm going to say now. So when I came to Sweden, the first month was like my geography lessons getting revised. So sun never sets, midnight sun exists, and all of this you see it when you come here. So and yes, you should also remember that it's not just igloos and Eskimos living here up north. It's normal life. In fact, it's really happening and bustling during summer, like any other normal city. Because when I came, I thought it's going to be just super cold, snow in August. So no, all that is a myth. But yes, so sun never sets was my first shocker, and it was amazing to see that. Yeah.
I just think that like Swedish society is very well structured, just as what you read in newspaper or you hear from rumors. That is actually true. I remember the whole society is just functioning perfectly. When, yeah, of course, after you live here for a couple of years, you feel like, yeah, there are also darker side. And
Sure.
it's just another society have benefits. But in the first 1 year of my stay, everything is just perfect. The city will provide you with a lot of benefits, free access to all the city libraries
Exactly.
and borrow books.
Yeah.
And also KTH, a lot of on-campus benefits too. Yeah, it will make you amazing.
Maybe we should mention that it does get cold during winter too.
Not so
Summer is
much,
beautiful, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
No, but it's not very cold.
It
Okay.
depends on the country you come from, actually, because
Yeah,
No, but to be fair,
But
it's not, I agree, it's not that cold, but it's a little long winter. Yeah, that's a good.
it's a bit long, but you can go skiing
that's,
and
Yeah.
go
That's a-
skating.
that's-
and
ice
also
skating.
I think it's worth mentioning that more than the cold temperature, it's the darkness that might be sort of different in affecting you in the months of November and December. It's dark and damp, and then sun never sets to hardly there is sun, sort of a thing. So yeah.
then you learned the Swedish word fika.
Oh,
If you don't
yes.
know it already, you should really learn the Swedish word fika. Do
Absolutely.
you want to describe what it is?
It's an afternoon tea, a Swedish version of some sweets plus coffee.
It can be
I
also-
think it's the social time with your colleagues
Exactly.
or friends or classmates. Yeah.
And you sit down with your cup of tea for a long time. That's the Swedish fika.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Fikas
So-
are the best.
Yeah, I would agree. So when we met earlier, you were talking about the differences between the countries where you come from and the way of teaching in Sweden. Would you like to talk a bit about that?
Yes. Yeah, you notice it's a little different, the system and the way the courses are delivered and what you're supposed to do. I found like here you have a lot more both time to prepare for whatever you need to deliver, and also either being like exam or you have a group work or a project. So it's well timed, and you can spend. I think it's not too overwhelming in the sense like you can actually see a timeline and think, okay, I can put this time for this work and study here. You get 1 week or 2 weeks to study for exams. So that's very, very organized.
Yeah.
And also, at least from my experience, is that you get more, instead of just getting a teacher telling you, just being there with in front of a class, just saying stuff, you get more interaction. And also because you have these group activities that you get also to present, and also the teacher are pretty open. You can email and they're pretty responsive, and everyone, all the staff is very responsive. So the TAs, everyone assisting the classes. So yeah, I noticed that difference, and also the focus more towards projects and group work
Yes.
from my experience.
Agree. So coming from India, it was a huge difference, the entire education system. First of all, in India, we follow the semester system, which is have exams after every 6 months and then you change your courses. But in Sweden, we follow something called as the study period system, where you have exams every quarter. So every 2 or 3 months once. So this sort of forces you not to procrastinate because usually, at least me, in the semester system, I used to study only the last month and, finish my exams. But in the study period curriculum, it's continuous evaluation. So in your 3 months, you have about, say, roughly 2 to 3 or 4 courses, and you have say 2 assignments per course, probably 1 project per course, and then an exam as well. So it's a lot of different things that you do in just 3 months, and it will keep you busy, and it is going to be hectic. But the best part about it is every single day you learn in the class, and outside the class, and you have so many group assignments, so you learn along with your friends, your peers, so everyone will help each other in learning, and that's like a complete system for me. Where you get to learn from your peers, you put your own effort, you learn from your teachers, as Jason said. So it's very different, and I think you learn a lot in this way of learning. But I will definitely warn you that the first 2 study periods, I think, would be very challenging if you're not used to the system. I had like huge challenges because it was so fast, I couldn't make it, and it was overwhelming. But then you will get used to it. Take it slow at the start, and then you'll slowly get used to it. Eventually, it's going to be really fine for you guys. Yeah.
Anything you thought about things?
Yeah, I have similar experience. I studied maritime engineering. Yeah, it's a branch of mechanical engineering. I think it's one of the KTH's strong branch, electrical and mechanical engineering. So the courses are very solid. Program is very well structured. I'm in a joint program, so I have been to Norwegian universities too, and I studied in China. Based on my experience, I just think KTH is more practical. All the courses are based on peer group project. This kind of force you to work in projects and with others. You receive feedback from either your peers or you have teaching assistant. Yeah. They actually, not only academically, sometimes you realize, okay, what your behavior as a person might not fit in some of the groups, where you start to think about how to deal with different personalities. Exactly. It's very like real time working environment. And then another thing is, I think at least in my master program, they actually give you budget to build mock-up for like big projects. They gave you 50,000 crowns to build robots and stuff. For us, the naval architect people, we have marine robotic projects, which will take half a year, and then you actually make something, and then you go for international competition. We went to Japan, like Tokyo, for a competition. I'm sure that vehicle engineering students also have similar things like formula competition. That's really cool.
If I may
and,
add.
And one more thing is actually here the professor cares about teaching you.
Yes.
Many of the academic systems, professors are more, they have to focus on their academic productivity, writing papers, and care much less about teaching. But that's not the case in KTH.
Yes.
They actually make time for students.
Yes.
It is very rare in the university.
Absolutely.
Something that you mentioned, that they be more practical. I also remember there is a lot of guest lectures, and this is really good in my opinion.
Yes.
Because you get people that are working with what you are studying, and this is the best you can get in a class.
Exactly.
So you have visitors from Klarna when you're taking courses in machine learning. So you get people working, and this is what we're doing, and this is something this should be in every university that you should get. But here in KTH, it's really, you get experts that get either professors or people in the industry.
Yes.
And I think this is a really valuable thing, a system that is here in KTH.
Yeah. That's true.
And during your time here at KTH, you were all active in different societies. Can you tell me about that and why you choose to do that? Because the studies are quite hard.
Yes.
But still you choose to do more while you're at KTH. Do you want to go first and tell us about?
Yeah, I kind of forgot the name of my student association.
Board at Skeppssällskapet.
Yeah, Skeppssällskapet.
Yeah.
It's naval architect group with it's like all the Nordic master program people, all the universities. Consists of 5 universities. we are the Swedish KTH branch.
Mm.
There's another student association similar in Chalmers. It's another Swedish technical university in Gothenburg. So I was responsible for food and drinks for all the students.
Oh, wow.
Not only students events, also we have a student room only for marine students.
Really?
Yeah, it's called poolen, like the pool in English.
Okay.
And then everybody hang out there for studies at different years too.
Yeah.
Like just everybody admitted to the program can hang out there. And then I also make sure we have fika with various choices.
Yes.
Yeah. I want to do that just because it's a good chance for me to go deeper into Swedish culture.
Yeah,
It's a
exactly.
cultural understanding, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and I have always been very active in Chinese student association when I was doing my college study.
Yes.
So,
And Deepa, you were an international student ambassador.
Yes, I was an international student ambassador in my second year. So I was assisting prospective students back then as well. They had so many questions. I was trying to answer, based on my experiences. And it was really nice. And apart from that, yes, to get to know the Swedish culture, I think I attended one of the GASK events. So this is an event where your chapter students, all of them get together, and generally it's like in the evening and it goes until like I think early morning sort of a party where you have themes for each event. And then I attended a Japan themed gas party. So basically you sort of cook for your guests, and then you prepare the table, you prepare everything for the night for the guests, and guests are other students. So they come and then basically just party. It is so much fun, and that's when I understood and learned some Swedish songs, skål, schnapps, what does this mean? So it was really good. And then I was also part of Armada, THS Armada, which is like the biggest career fair in Sweden, I guess. So a lot of companies come. So I was one of the career fair hosts trying to organize between companies and, help set up the entire event. It's a 2-day event and help set up. I was a part of that as well. So, yeah.
And Jason, you worked with the Stockholm Tech Fest?
Yeah, since I mentioned before, my master was on entrepreneurship and innovation. I figure like you heard about the Stockholm, I guess. If you haven't, this is one of the cities for startups, and there's a lot of activity in that area. So I thought about the connection, and I wanted to be active in the community and see what's going on in the city. So I found my way through volunteering in one co-working space called Software Seats. They have different companies, and from there you start like building a network. You start meeting other people, organizing this event, being Tech Fest one of those. So you start going to more and more, and kind of you see the scene, how is the startup scene here, how vibrant it is, and all these events, all these companies presenting, people from 500 people companies to 3 people from KTH trying new ideas.
Yeah.
So you see all this energy, and also people trying, and I have this product, can you try my app, and try this mock-up. So this a lot of activities, and that was kind of my approach when thinking about what should I do when I'm not studying and I'm not in KTH. And you get this time. I think you should also take advantage of that. There are many activities that you can be part in the city and also in the school.
I think this reminds me, Stockholm Tech Fest is when I met Klarna CEO for the first time, and I was so impressed by his vision and principles, and I am going to apply, and that's how I think I'm in Klarna now.
So that's a good thing actually that you're saying that, because I was going to ask you, like you all stayed on in Sweden.
Yeah.
And can you talk about a bit like the company culture and the work culture in Sweden versus the countries where you come from? Is there any large differences and similarities? What would you say? Do you want to start, Deepa?
Yes. So yes, I've worked a couple of years in India. I've worked during my thesis as well in Germany, in Carl Zeiss, and then now in Sweden. I did my part-time internship and I've been working. So I have some experience in 3 different countries, and yes, I see a lot of differences actually. So the first big thing I think comes to all of our mind is the work-life balance that you get in Sweden. I think no country can beat that. Maybe some Scandinavian countries, I'm not sure, but you can see a stark difference in how Swedes and how they believe in work-life balance. So, and it doesn't mean that they're not efficient. I learned efficiency here because they work for 6 to 8 hours and they're super efficient. So they try to finish everything in that 8 hours. And after that, it's their family. No matter what, it will be the family after those 8 hours. And that's a really nice quality that I'm learning because often, since I'm coming from India, you don't see that much of a good work-life balance there. You're often sort of consumed in your work, and then you tend to work for like 10 hours, sometimes 12 hours, and then you forget your personal life. But here, when you work for 10, 12 hours, mind you, your manager is going to call you and ask, what is wrong with you? Is everything fine? And that has happened. This is fact. Is everything fine? So they're going to ask you to, relax and then work 8 hours, 9 hours, and then go focus on your personal life. So that's the best thing I saw in Sweden. Another thing about the work culture here is the hierarchy-less system and the autonomy that you get while you work. So hierarchy-less as in, if I have an idea and if I talk to my boss and say my boss does not agree with my idea, I have the flexibility to go and talk to, say, my boss's boss and say, this is my idea and these are the POCs that I have. Why not? Why don't we try this? And trust me, boss's boss will listen to it, at least listen to it and have a conversation and discuss and see if it's going to be feasible or not. And this is something new, and this is something unique for Sweden. So that's really nice. So hierarchy-less system, you can talk and express your ideas no matter like to your CEO as well, and that's amazing. And autonomy is, again, if you have an idea, you have all the autonomy to execute it and show and prove them, and they wouldn't question you. And that's a really nice thing. In fact, they will listen to you if your idea is really good. So yeah.
Do you want to add anything?
Yeah, that's about it. But I work in a very big company,
Yeah.
considered one of the big companies in Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
It has over 40,000
I think
people.
so. Yeah.
Yeah. So your case isn't totally true. You can't go up to CEO and say, hey,
Yeah.
I don't like my boss.
It depends on
It depends.
Yes.
So I'm working in a company which is 2,500 employees, which
Yeah.
is fairly big, I
Fairly
would
big,
say.
yeah. But from what I feel, it is very unstructured. Not unstructured. It's not that
Hierarchy based, yeah.
based. That's true. You get to talk to your opinions, and sometimes it might work.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think you can still talk to your CEO. When I was working in Ericsson,
Yeah.
I spoke to the CEO there.
Cool.
I mean, maybe.
I can try. I'll
Yeah,
write
you
him an
should.
email
You should
or-
definitely try.
Yeah, right after this.
Yeah, I agree with this, what you're saying, Deepa. It's this idea of a flat organization, a flat hierarchies. And in this come, like you can be having a fika, or you can be in the kitchen, just warming your food, and then you are next to the CEO. It's like, oh, you're just there. It's not like a stranger. It's not that. You're just there, and you can speak with them.
Exactly.
So I also agree that's kind of unique here, that you can be sitting and you are kind of equals.
Yeah.
Of course, everyone have their role, but then your opinion is also valuable in that sense. I've also worked for a kind of different organization from that you're working for. I work for a startup. So yeah, every meeting is with the CEO, right? So
Yeah.
so that's pretty clear, a flat organization.
Yeah, rather flat. Yeah.
So yeah, but that's one aspect of the culture, and I think it's reflected in many parts of the society. That is a flat and
Yes. I think I
everybody.
would like to add one more point. I think a lot of women students, girl students, will have this question of how the equality is between men and women workers. Sweden is, I would say, one of the uh, most equal countries in terms of how a woman employee is respected and given equal chance. Although there is some pay differences that still exist, I wouldn't say that has become completely equal. But then comparing to most of the countries in the world, Sweden is among the, I think, definitely top 5 in terms of equality in your workplace. It doesn't mean that you wouldn't face issues, but it's not as much as other countries. Yes.
So we have got a few questions from you watching, and there's a lot of questions about, is it hard to get a job after KTH? And I know that you two have a bit of a different view on that.
Yeah, it's different situation.
Yeah, different situation. So, Frank, do you want to go?
Yeah, well, it was difficult for me because I was applying after I left Sweden. So it's the visa issue that matters the most because
Yeah.
when you are applying, it works like this. If you have graduated from a Swedish university and then you start to look for a job, you could have a very smooth transfer. They allow you to work on the student visa or like the
Yeah.
extended job seeker visa after your study. You could already start working if you got a job. Then you can continue working while the real work visa is
Being
being
processed.
processed. But if you have already left Sweden, if you just want to come back again, you don't have any legal rights like this. Oh, not legal rights. You don't have any benefit.
Yes, that's true.
It's just like anybody else that tries to apply from anywhere else in the
Yes.
world going back to Sweden. So do seize your chance of being student in Sweden. Otherwise,
Yes.
it's
That's-
much more difficult.
That's a great advice. I would definitely agree with it. Based on the experiences I've had and my friends have had, I would say that yes, when you are a student, my piece of advice is beginning of second year, start looking for opportunities and try to seize it by the end of your second year or end of thesis, because that's super important in terms of visa and just because otherwise it's going to be expensive, and if you do not have work, it's going to just cost you extra to stay here. That's one thing. In terms of job search, it's highly, what do you say, relative to which program you are in. As a matter of fact, from the batch of 2014, that is my batch, I can talk based on most of the Indian students who are there. Most of them have got a job. So that's a very positive sign. Vehicle engineering students got opportunities in Scania, Volvo. And then computer science students, of course, we've got job in Ericsson, Klarna, some startups. Some people also work for Microsoft, Google. So that's a really nice thing. However, if you see the more hardware related programs, for example, say embedded system, system on chip, production engineering, aerospace, say electrophysics, all of these, you have to be proactive in networking. Networking is the secret for a job in Sweden. If you ask any of us, I think that's what we'll say. Start networking right away. Find your seniors right away and think about the opportunities, think about the market, what it is. And then you will definitely, even if it will take longer time, you will definitely find a job. Most of my friends in these second mentioned programs have got a job, but it took longer than, say, computer science or vehicle engineering students. So it all depends on your program. So please network with your seniors, your friends here in Sweden. Start doing it right from the beginning, first year, and then you will definitely land in a good opportunity, because it is a land of opportunities. You'll have to just find your way through it.
And I think, can I
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
supplement one point, is that like the Swedish industry belief is you don't have to do what you studied. I
Yes,
think they kind
absolutely.
of, it doesn't matter as long as you have a degree. Yeah, it's not as hard as Germany, I guess.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with these points, and I think coming to KTH, you have a pretty good outlook. Also because KTH is a brand here in Sweden.
Yeah.
So when you say I'm a master of KTH, it's already opening doors. I think that's something you can take advantage of.
Someone said it's like MIT
Yeah,
in
so it's
Sweden.
really you can name drop a KTH and it will work.
Yeah.
And I agree 100%. You should start looking. In my opinion, I think that if the feeling here is that things might take a little longer time,
Yeah.
especially when applying for jobs. So you should really do it with time. And I agree also with the network aspect. You should be outside, be trying to be known, trying to connect with people,
Yes.
do things with time, because it's all about the efficiency that we were talking about
Exactly.
before. So
Yes.
if you want to get a job during the summer, you should apply early the year, so or the year before. So just don't leave things to the last day. You should don't think that you will get your degree and then you will start applying. No, you should do it from before
Yes.
and build your network,
Absolutely.
connect with people, go to meetups, go to these events that you have opportunity to go.
Yeah.
To the Tech Fest, you can go free of charge as a student of KTH.
Yes.
So take advantage of all these opportunities that are outside, out here, and yeah, network, apply on time.
Yes.
Um, yeah,
Definitely.
I think the outlook is pretty positive. You just need to be more proactive.
Yes.
We actually have a question about doing a part-time job while you're studying. Do you guys have any experience of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I did my part-time in second year at Ericsson. I got a job in my field. They were looking for some project people. So I think until I started my thesis, I did my part-time. I know some other students as well who have done a part-time. Usually what happens is, I mean, it's my personal opinion, but people who would struggle, I would put it this way, people who, okay, so say students come here during their first study period, and if they feel the system is very difficult to adapt, please don't focus on getting a part-time. First, focus on getting used to the education system. So I think that's what I did, because it was very difficult for me. So I took time to adjust to the study system. Although I wanted, some financial help, I didn't do part-time. What I did was first 6 months, I just worked on getting used to the system, be very good at that, and then start looking for internship opportunities, part-time opportunities. KTH has some really nice small part-time opportunities that you can get, like, for example, assisting arrival students during summer, and then being a KTH ambassador. So all of this is a nice part-time job as well. And then if you're a computer science or a software-based student, you have plenty of opportunities in startups and other places. So start looking out, but then first, please focus on getting comfortable with your study period system, and then start looking for opportunities. Yeah.
And we also have some questions, and I also wanted to ask you that. How important is Swedish? Did you study Swedish while you were at KTH, and how important is it to know Swedish when you look for a job in Sweden?
I think we all here work in English, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, but not to say.
So we have answered the question.
Yeah, no, but I think it's important still. I mean, I know it's hard to say, even though we are working in English and we didn't need it. But I think it really, if you're planning to stay here and you want more opportunities, it will be helpful to have the language also. Well,
Yes.
you can see all of ours that we
Yeah.
found a job
Yeah,
without having the
exactly.
language. I did study. I think it's important to, if you want to be here for a longer time
Yeah. That's
to
true.
be part of society, it's important to
I-
have the language.
Yeah, I think a lot of students have this myth. I think I was discussing with you the other day
Mm.
that a lot of students outside Europe have this myth that if you come to European universities, you have to learn the language to survive. I would say it's a big myth, especially if you're coming to Sweden and considering KTH, because in Sweden, everyone speaks English. So that's a huge myth that you should know Swedish to start, surviving here. But having said that, if you want to integrate into the culture, into the community, and know more people, understand how Swedish system works, language is an amazing tool for that. So if you know Swedish, you integrate faster. So it all depends on what you want. For instance, for me, even though I wanted to stay in Sweden for a longer time, since I'm from computer science, most of the companies here are super international for me. So I did not have the need to learn Swedish at all. So, which is a bad thing. I should start learning, which I will. It's in my agenda. But like in my company, I have people from 84 nationalities. I hear more Spanish than Swedish because I have people from Argentina, Brazil. So it is quite international. But then companies like Scania, for example, there are so many departments where they only speak Swedish.
Yeah.
So that's when you want to integrate and you want to be a part of it and you want to learn Swedish. So it all depends on what you want and how you want to integrate.
Yeah, I think it depends on your industry too. If your
Yeah.
target industry is tech industry or computer science,
Yeah.
it's usually international. But if you want to, let's say, vehicle engineering or any other types of
Exactly.
manufacturing related
Yeah,
jobs or people related jobs, if you
Yeah.
want to be a salesman
yeah,
in Sweden,
absolutely.
congratulations, you don't go far with Sweden with English.
With English, exactly.
Yeah, so I think there's a trap. When you start in KTH, you feel like not too many people speak Swedish. Everybody speaks English. But then when you really start to work, you realize, yeah, Swedish people do speak Swedish.
Yes,
And
definitely.
they prefer Swedish too, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the
So,
integration part then.
and I would say that I know it's difficult to try to manage your study and the language. I have seen very few cases where people manage both.
Yeah,
Well, sometimes they do if their mother tongue is like Germanic language,
Yeah,
then they're
exactly.
cheating. But if you're coming out of Europe, I haven't seen anybody get fluent in
Swedish?
Swedish during their study.
No.
But there are like language cafes, right?
There are language
Yeah.
cafes.
But then you can't be fluent in Swedish. So what I've seen among my friends is as soon as they join a job, they sort of learn it in 6 months because you sort of start talking to colleagues and then your company sponsors for SFP, that is Swedish for professionals, and that's more professional Swedish and you learn faster.
But they must have had other language training
Yeah.
during their study. They
That's
have
true.
laid very good foundations. So I would suggest if you aim for a career afterward, you really need to think about the language part.
Depends on the program.
Yeah, it depends on your program.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess you already answered that a bit, but why did you want to stay on in Sweden? Why stay in Sweden after your studies? I mean, as an engineer, you can like travel everywhere.
I think the city and the companies, there's a lot of opportunities here for our expertise, and also with the startups that are coming up. And so there's a lot of opportunities, and it's also, you were talking about the work-life balance and the vacation days. Yeah, it's a place that you can build like a kind of like a stable life, and like I mentioned before, it's also like an organized society. So it's really comfortable to live in Sweden. It's really nice, really comfortable.
Yes, I agree to that. I think work-life balance is the first thing why anyone would want to stay in Sweden, and also a healthier lifestyle. I would say Swedes are more inclined towards, climate change and sustainability and leading a healthier lifestyle. I see a lot of inclination towards that. So if you're a person who's more conscious about environment and stuff, I think Sweden is a great place that way. That's one another thing which I've thought. And then innovation. It's a land of innovation. So if you want to say start a business or even get some experience in startups or venture into new ideas, then you have a lot of opportunities here, at least to experiment things. So yes, I think that is.
Yeah, for me, the true story is
Yes.
I just want to find a place where it's close to Norway, but not Norway. And then I choose
But then you
Sweden.
have one choice,
And
one
then,
option.
yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And then Stockholm really made a great impression when I was studying here. So yeah, that's the reason why I came back to Stockholm.
Absolutely.
So we also have a question about the finance. Is it financially challenging to live in Stockholm?
It's a good question. So I can talk about that. I think, yes, Stockholm is one of the most expensive cities in the world, and housing is expensive. It's like any other mega cities. It is quite expensive. I think on an average, you spend I was super low on budget, so I used to spend like I think 6,000 crowns a month, which is impossible.
Yeah.
I think you will need at least 8,000 to
8 to
10,000.
10,000, I would say. But it's a good time. If you look at the currency, Swedish crowns is really weak.
No.
So you should really consider.
Yeah, but then as a student, there are ways you can sort of live on budget, I guess. I think the first important thing is learn cooking. That is the first thing you should know because eating outside is not a big option for students. It's going to be super expensive, even for people who are working full time. So please learn cooking so you can explore your culinary skills here, and then pack your food, have your lunches, dinner, everything at home. Then you save a good amount of your money.
Yeah, but I think also like things are built here to bring, because KTH here we have all these places like all the chapters,
Yeah.
Nimble, everywhere you have a microwave. So
Yeah.
it's built so people can bring their own food
Yeah,
also.
the localites themselves bring food. So
So that's a good option.
yeah,
But I think also because you also want to have fun, right?
Yeah.
But you have to. So, but there are places that if you want to hang out, they have like student prices.
Yeah.
If you want to go out with friends for drinks that are accessible.
exactly.
There's also like parties here in KTH, and the chapters organize these things on Fridays of after exams.
Yeah.
So
And
it's
then
also a way to have a life being on a budget, I think.
even in student accommodations, you have parties. So that's a really nice way of networking, almost for free. So that's also a very nice thing.
Yeah, but I would suggest that the average budget should be around 8,000 if you want to
Yes.
have a life.
Absolutely.
8,000 crowns.
8,000 crowns is a must. I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you stayed in contact with any of your KTH friends from when you studied here?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yes. A lot
So is
of
that
them.
like your network here in Stockholm now?
Yeah, like for me, a group of friends, my friends here are from KTH, also some from my country, from Venezuela, but mostly from KTH. So yeah.
Yes, I think same here. I've got a big network of friends because of KTH. I think a lot of us were like closely knit, so I mean, we still continue to keep in touch. And in fact, a lot of my friends are not here in Stockholm. Some are in Gothenburg, so, like a couple of them are in the Netherlands, Belgium, Switzerland, Germany. So I try to plan trips, like we all try to plan trips and meet somewhere in Europe
That's
at
nice.
least once a year. So yes,
That's the global KTH network.
yes, I think so.
Yeah. For me, yeah, I got my job through one of the the KTH alumni.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and also that's true. When I came back, I was alone in Stockholm, but now I have already collected many alumni or like classmates or somebody that
Yeah.
I was familiar with.
Yeah.
Now I have a couple of them.
That's
Really.
nice.
Yeah, I met a lot of classmates in Scania too.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's true.
So we have a question that are there any yearly festivals or events at KTH or in Sweden that you can attend or that
Yeah.
you would recommend also, I guess?
Yeah, there's
The
the
Nobel thing,
Yeah.
City
Yep.
Hall. By the way, if you graduate from KTH, you get to pick up your
Oh, yeah.
certificate from
City Hall.
the City Hall,
Yeah, that's
City.
amazing.
whereas the Nobel Prize is granted. I
Yes.
think this is the closest chance for most of us to get close to Nobel Prize.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think there are like the cultural things, the holidays and the Walpurgis night thing,
Yeah.
the Valborg.
Oh, and then the culture night that comes, I think,
Culture
end
night,
of
yeah.
April. So that is the day. I think it's comes once every year in end of April.
Yeah, it's actually the
That's
27th this year.
27th this year,
Yep.
27th April. And what happens during that time is that day, almost every museum is free of cost. And you have so many cultural activities happening throughout the city. It's amazing. So never miss your culture nights as a student,
Yeah,
at least.
everything is open. The
Everything,
opera,
yeah.
the palace, and all
Exactly.
the places, and there are plays, and you can go.
You
And
have
it has
like
to be for free. That's a good point for
Yeah.
new
Yes,
Yeah,
it
it's
is
free.
for free and hundreds of activities for free, which would otherwise cost you. So never miss that opportunity.
Yeah.
That is one thing. And then summer is basically just music festivals and parties. And yes, you should also know that Sweden has a really good music culture. Spotify is from here, so, and then
Yeah.
ABBA is from here, Avicii is from here, so it has a really strong music culture. They have really good music festivals happening in Sweden.
Yeah, I also remember this season pass for the
Gröna
Gröna
Lund.
Lund.
Yeah, exactly.
So
It's an amusement park
It's
in
amusement
the
park.
center of Stockholm.
Yes.
so you pay like 200 crowns. That is not much, and you get to go the whole season to the park,
Yeah.
and they have concerts. Like a lot of artists come. So yeah, that's also a budget opportunity to go to
Yes,
concerts.
That's a
absolutely.
good tip. Right?
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. We could keep on talking because, like, I think since KTH is in the heart of Stockholm, which is a big city in Nordic area,
Yeah.
so I think, yeah, this is where you could get a lot of events. It's just a typical big city life.
Yes.
True.
Yeah.
Like many people tend to fly from Scandinavia to Stockholm for a concert, for example.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Finnish,
Endless events to explore.
Finns and Norwegian people will fly to
Yeah.
Stockholm for a concert they want to see because it's the capital.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So maybe we should finish with one last question. It's kind of a sad one, but how bad is the Swedish winter?
No, but I think Peng, you mentioned before,
Yeah.
it's not, don't imagine like it's minus 40. It's not extremely cold, but it's
In
just that,
Stockholm, that is.
at least Stockholm.
Yeah.
But it's just a bit longer than you might expect.
Okay.
So that's
Yeah.
how I see it.
I think so too. I think even the darkness that
The
I
darkness
mentioned.
also there.
So your sort of winter starts from say November because until October you see beautiful colors changing leaves and fall season is really nice. After that November suddenly you see everything is super dark. I think your sun rises at like 8 o'clock and then sets at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which is a bit exciting in the beginning. The first year I was like, wow, this is amazing. But then it'll slowly start getting onto you and you might feel a little low because of that. But then,
you can always try to cultivate your winter sports
exactly.
skills.
That's when I started learning ice skating. I fell many times and then I tried doing some skiing, I guess. But
I think the trick is also to force yourself to be outside and do activities because it's easy when it's dark and cold. It's,
absolutely,
I don't want to go outside and do nothing.
that's a
But
good
then
point.
you force yourself and you try to go out and hang out with friends or
Oh,
go
we
to the
have
gym.
finished. Thank you for joining. Okay, I think we might have finished, or is it 1 minute left, something like that? So if we're interrupting you, if there's someone still watching, Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
The
you.
Thank you.
The conversation could continue.
Yeah,
Apply.
Yes.
Yeah.
it was a pleasure being here.
Okay. Now there's 1 minute left, so
Oh,
yeah, we just wrapped up. Thank you for joining us. And hopefully we will see you at KTH. And as a member of KTH Alumni, I hope to stay in touch with you after your studies at KTH.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good luck with your applications and hope you guys come to KTH and experience this.
yeah, and reach out and connect if you guys
Yeah.
want. We're here and we expect you to see you in August.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.